Hey there, it's Pete with GCI Turf. Hope you're having a great day today. And we've done that in the past with pruning at clients' houses and things like that, but I got a whole row of these things I'm gonna cut, and I got a ton of work to do today. I mean a bunch. I'm gonna edge my beds with the ABI Force. That's for another video. I've got to apply pre-emergent to my beds. That's for another video. I've got to scalp the Bermuda. That's for another video. It was something else too I need to do. I'll think about it and I'll make a video on that too. But this one, I'm going to prune this hedge right here. Now, this didn't start off as a hedge. It actually started off as individual plants. Gosh, that stuff's tough. Get a little blade on it right here. This started off as individual plants. I bought them in a 1 gallon container. They're called Cephalotaxis, and the common name for it is a yew, Y-E-W. I really like them. You can see here. Let's get somewhere you can see this good. You can see the leaf shape and all. Kind of has one little long leaf blade on it. Now, I'm in no way am I horticulturalist, and by no shape or form, but you can see what that looks like. Really good looking plant. Got them over here, and then they go all the way around my patio. Now, this is one variety. This is I've got two different varieties at the house here. Both are dwarf varieties. I want to make sure you get that. They are both dwarf yew, meaning they don't get humongous. Maintenance on these, I prune them about 2 times a year. That's about it. I do one heavy cutting on them, which is typically in the early winter or early spring, excuse me. But I actually missed that pruning this year because I was so busy. And then I would do a second one right about now, which is early September. And I like to have all my pruning done, get all that stuff cleaned up. You see, I pruned my camellia the other day. I like to have all that done before I do my aerating and seeding, just because I'm not going to want to get in the grass and walk around and work, and all my focus is getting that turf up. So, since I missed my early spring pruning on these, I'm going to go ahead and prune them pretty heavy and pretty drastically right now today. Now, one thing, if you notice about this one right here, you see how it's kind of naturally growing in a rounded ball type shape. I mean, it's nice and airy and natural looking, but it's still, the overall general shape is a ball, sort of. Let me show you the other one. Now, the other variety is up under this crepe myrtle here, and you can see this grows in a considerably different pattern. Even the leaf looks different. You see that? How it's kind of got one long shoot, and then all the leaf material kind of tees off of that, instead of the leaf material being all the way around. And then you see it. This is more of a running type Cephalotaxis. It kind of mounds and then kind of runs out and spreads out. Of course, it's getting into my liripe a little bit, so I need to prune that. As far as the actual name of the two different ones, I have no idea, no clue. I just know that both of them are dwarf. This one's a moundy type with kind of runners off of it, and the other is more of a ball type. So the purpose of this was to fill in this bed area. Okay, I got a natural area going around my patio here. I'll kind of tell you the story in the patio in another video, but it did not start off this big, I assure you. It just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger as we went. But the main objective of this was to kind of break up the patio area. Let me show you. Well, I got someone walking down the street, kind of having a nice little stroll, and they happen to look over and see Pete and Tammy sitting on the back patio. it kind of gives you the little breakup appearance, meaning it kind of leaves something secret in there, and it kind of breaks up the hard edges of the patio and that kind of thing. It kind of softens the blow, I guess, of the patio, because all my patio here is nothing but hard edges everywhere. Even my pergola, I kind of designed this right here and put these up on the outskirts to match what's in there. But you can see everything's a hard edge, hard clean lines, and this hedge of yew softens that up a little bit. All right, so I tried my best to find a good set of battery powered hedge trimmers, because actually I'm kind of in the market for my business to switch over to battery powered trimmers and stick edgers and hedge trimmers. That's your job in the comments. I want to know what the best commercial battery powered equipment, hedge trimmer, string trimmer, stick edger, that you know of, so I can research it and maybe get those switched out. I don't know a lot about the battery powered stuff, so that's how you can help me, is comment on that. Now typically right here I would hand prune these with my kamikazes, just come in here and nip. That way I leave a nice, neat, natural appearance, and I would actually shape them back up in the kind of the round form. But at this point in time in the life of this pergola, I think I'm ready to convert this over to more of a hedge, meaning a solid long line of shrubbery that would border something or separate something. That's kind of my definition of a hedge. So the way I go about this is I find the smallest bush out here, okay, and I've looked at all of them, and this one is the smallest. So I'm going to cut that one first to the height and size and shape that I want it, roughly. And then I'm going to match everything else up to it. Now, one thing that's going to happen, you'll see I'm not going to take quite as much of this off. The size of them, where they're at now, I like the size of them. I'm simply going to shape them up, and I'm going to pretty much square them off at first. And then once I get them squared, I'll kind of go back and round the edges off just a little bit. And anytime you prune, my opinion on this, anytime you freshly prune a hedge, they always look terrible until maybe 2 or 3 weeks after, when some new growth starts to pop off and that kind of thing. That's when I kind of think they look their best. I've never been a fan of that tight ball, tight square commercial look. I've never been a fan of it. So the first 2 or 3 weeks they'll be all boxed up and yucky looking, and then maybe by mid-September, end of September, they'll start getting a more natural appearance when that new growth pops out, and that's kind of when I think they look the best. Whoop, stay. I'm not gonna hurt you. It's a little praying mantis. There we go. Oh, nope. Alright, you just want to get on out of here. Go. Fly. Get in that tree. There you go. Stay over there. So I absolutely remember when I started my company and I was doing everything myself, the mowing and spraying beds and pruning and blowing the edge in the whole 9 yards, one-man show. Man, I dreaded those days I had to take my hedge trimmers and prune, and nothing's changed. Boy, I hate these things. Now what I did over there is I measured. My kneecap is about my height. That way my height matches up over there, because these are kind of separated from that area. See these gloves right here? We sell these on the website, and I've been asked 100 times, Pete, why you wear them things when you're working? Big old tough dude like yourself. Well, my wife asked me to. She at one point in time, well, actually for my entire life, I never wore gloves. I always grabbed the dirt and grabbed the tree or grabbed whatever with my hands. And my hand, you can still see a little bit of it right in here. My hands used to get really, really rough. I'm talking like rough as that daggone 6x6 right there. And she didn't like it. So I made her a promise several years ago, long before I started making a YouTube video, that I would start wearing these gloves when I was working. And just showing her respect on that. She just liked it. She likes they're not soft. I don't have soft hands, okay? Don't get me wrong. My hands are still plenty tough. They're just not as bad as they used to be. So I'm gonna take this rake right here. I made a video the other day on it. Now I don't link these or nothing, but it's a groundskeeper. I use it quite often around the house, or I will be. I've had it for a while, just hadn't had a chance to use it. But you can get these at smile.amazon.com and select Team Jacks as a charity. And for every one of these that's bought, Amazon sends my son some money for his foundation, and we take that money up to Philadelphia and we give it to families that need it to pay their medical bills and travel and things like that. So, but I'll take this thing and just kind of lightly rake the debris off the top. Man, I'm telling you, this thing works incredibly well with this bush. Look at how it just kind of gets down in there and just kind of eases through it. It doesn't tear the plant up. Oh man, that's really nice. By the way, that's the first time I've ever used it on a shrub, pulling the trimmings off. So, boy, I like that. Now, one thing I am doing is I'm pulling this back to get it loaded up, put it in my truck, take it to the shop and dump it. So I'm actually pulling the pine needles out as well on my patio side, because I want to find that edge right there. It's right here somewhere. I got to find it. There it is. So I can go back and tamp my pine needles on the edge, and this kind of give me a opportunity to start that over from scratch in a way. I've got a few little scragglers left hanging down here at the bottom. I'll go back and cut those off as well. What are you selling? Stuff for school? Alright, that's my daughter. Walking down the street in the neighborhood with Jacks, selling fundraiser stuff for school or whatever. I love my daughter. Got a special place in my heart for her, and I'm talking to you, Dad. This is directly at you, Dad, if you have a daughter. God's design for marriage was a man and a woman. There are no other options according to the scripture. And that intimate time between the man and the woman was designed within the confines of marriage. And as a believer, it is absolutely your responsibility, your duty, your privilege to protect your daughter's virtue. Probably wasn't expecting that in a lawn care video, was you? But that just sparked my mind with her walking by. And it is your job, Dad, to raise your daughter up in the fear and instruction of the Lord and teach her that marriage, the intimacy that happens in marriage is for when you're married, not beforehand. And obviously, I jacked that up when I was younger, but when I was younger, I didn't know Jesus, and I didn't know what he expected of me. But now that I do know, it's my job to teach her, teach my daughter, and my son as well. Sons, both of them. That's a big deal for your daughter to be able to say that she saved herself for her husband, for one man. The one man that God designed her to be with. God put her on earth to be with one man for the rest of her life. And that's next to my kids learning about the saving knowledge of Jesus and accepting that, which both my older ones have. I had the privilege of baptizing them both. That's probably my number one goal as a dad, is to protect my daughter. And boy, do I take that serious. I mean, I'm probably a little over anal about it, and I probably overachieve, but at the end of the day, my job is to glorify the King, glorify God, and I'm going to do that with my life and do that with the way I raise my daughter and what I teach her. Don't be scared to talk with your daughter about that, and obviously get your wife involved in the conversation, and so that they know what God expects of them and what they are to do with their body. So dads, protect your daughters at all costs. Now this right here is called a weeding hoe. You can kind of see the shape of it right here. It's flat on one edge, got kind of a sharp edge like that. It's flat, and you basically put it in the ground, put a little bit of pressure on it and pull, and you can see how it kind of scrapes up a little thin layer, and what it does is it pulls those weeds up like that right there. And I use it quite often around here, and I'll just kind of do like that right there. You can see how it works. It's extremely simple to use. I don't have a link for them, but I will try to find one on smile.amazon, so you can check that out. And if you don't mind, just use Team Jacks as the charity, and we'll appreciate it. Now you can see my edge right here, okay? That's where my pavers butt up against. This is kind of like a guard, kind of hold things in place. Well, what I do is I will tamp my pine needles down in that edge so they have a nice, tight, clean look. Well, the problem is a lot of the edge is covered up with dirt because I didn't do pine needles. I didn't get to do it early in the year, so I'll take this, kind of scrape it along there, and look what I found. There's my edge. Look at that weed. Get him going. So the last thing I'm gonna do is blow everything off clean. I'm not gonna go crazy with the blower because I don't want to throw everything all over the place. I'm just gonna kind of tuck this little bit of excess dirt and dust and whatever. Just gonna tuck it up under the bush a little bit. It's not gonna hurt a dang thing. It's really not that much of it. I'm gonna get out in my grass area and any little tiny pieces left, kind of blow them back up out of here and blow them out of the grass and back up under the bush, and I'll be done. Alright, so there you go. Whew, man, it's been a while since I've done that, man. That's some work. Whew. You can tell I ain't been out here in the yard like I usually am. That's alright, I'm getting back on track. Like, subscribe, and share. And while we're talking about that, I've made my mind up on something. Been thinking about it quite a bit. I think I'm going to do it, and the only reason I'm going to do it is to say thank you. We're almost at 70,000 subscribers. Man, that's I can remember when I didn't have but 1,000, and that's been really cool and really humbling to watch that number go up. It's pretty sweet. Thank you so much.